Does your workout take 90 minutes or sometimes even longer than that? Do you walk into the gym thinking that you will be done quickly, only to look at the clock later and realize that most of your evening is already gone? If this sounds familiar, then this is the video for you. Most people don't actually train too much. I mean, some of you probably do, but most folks have pretty manageable routines. They just waste a massive amount of time inside the gym. They rest longer than necessary, they scroll on their phone, they walk around without a clear plan. And before they know it, a normal workout has turned into a marathon session. The good news is that you do not really need to remove exercises from your workouts, because your routine is most likely perfectly fine. So you can cut your workout time in half while still doing the same exercises. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that by following 4 simple steps. And trust me, this is not a gimmick. This is a very real technique that you can apply to your workout and see results immediately. Step number 1. Set up a training plan. Step number 1 is very important. You need to have a training plan. If your workout is just whatever you feel like doing on a given day, then your workouts will always take too long. There is no way around that. A lot of people think they train for like 2 hours, but in reality they only train for like 60 minutes maximum. The rest of the time is just wasted, and that wasted time adds up very quickly. If you want your workouts to be 2 times faster, it needs to be written down somewhere. It does not matter if it's in a paper notebook, on your phone, or in a training app. What matters is that before you start training, you already know which exercises you are going to do, how many sets you are going to do, and in what order you are going to do them. This is especially important because in the next steps we are going to apply a very specific technique to your training plan. But that technique only works if your workout is structured. Without a plan, you simply can't use it effectively. So before you even think about speeding up your workouts, make sure you have a clear plan. This alone will already save you time, and it also sets the foundation for everything that comes next. Step number 2. Apply the special technique. Step number 2 is where we actually start cutting serious time from your workouts. The special technique we are going to use is called antagonist superset training. Once you understand how this works, you will immediately realize why most workouts take far longer than they need to. Every time you do an exercise, there are 2 main muscle roles involved. The first one is the agonist muscle. The agonist muscle is the main mover. That is the muscle that is going to do the most work during the exercise. The second one is the antagonist muscle. The antagonist muscle is the muscle that is opposing the agonist muscle. This concept is extremely important, so let me show you an example of this. When you do a bicep curl, the biceps are the agonist muscle. They are the ones lifting the weight. On the opposite side of the biceps, you have the triceps. During a bicep curl, the triceps are not really working. They are basically relaxed. That means the triceps are the antagonist muscle in this case. The muscle pairs that go together very well are, for example, the before mentioned biceps and triceps, chest and back, or quads and hamstrings. But as I will show you later, the muscles don't always have to be directly opposing each other. But more on that a little later. Now here is where antagonist superset training comes in. Instead of doing a set of bicep curls and then resting for like 2 or 3 minutes and then doing another set, you do something much smarter. You do 1 set of bicep curls and immediately after that you perform a set of tricep pushdowns. I think you now might be starting to understand why this works so well. Because while your biceps are working on the bicep curl, your triceps are resting. And when your triceps work on the tricep pushdown, your biceps are resting. So there is no overlap between the 2 exercises. Because you are not training the same muscle twice in a row. This alone can cut a huge amount of time from your workouts. Instead of sitting around doing nothing between the sets, you stay productive. This is the core idea behind antagonist superset training. And once you start using it, you will feel like you are just flying through your sessions. So if you want to start taking advantage of this technique immediately, you should definitely check out my training plans, which come with 5 extra free ebooks, and one of them is the Fast Workout Guide, where I modified the regular training plans into one of the fastest workouts that you will ever have. And you don't even need to put in any additional work. You just take it, follow it, and have the most effective and fastest training plan out there. If you want to learn more about it, click the first link in our description. Step number 3. Learn how to use this technique properly. This step is critical, because antagonist supersets only work if you apply them correctly. Many people try something similar, but they do it wrong and then wonder why it feels terrible or why their performance dropped so much. The most important rule you need to remember is very simple. The two exercises you pair together must not train the same muscle group. That is the only requirement. So for example, you would not want to pair a back exercise with a bicep exercise, as they both tax your biceps. Or you wouldn't want to pair a chest exercise with a tricep exercise, as they both tax your triceps. Make sure that you are not mixing up supersets and antagonist supersets, because that is not the same thing. You already know what the word antagonist means, and that is what we want to be doing in this case. But while it might seem like the antagonist body parts always have to be directly opposing each other, it doesn't have to be like that all the time. Yes, the classic antagonist pairs like biceps and triceps, chest and back, or quads and hamstrings work extremely well. But you are not limited to only these combinations. For example, you can pair the bench press with calf raises if you want. These muscle groups are not direct opposites, but they do not interfere with each other at all. Your chest, shoulders and triceps work during the bench press, while your calves rest. Then during the calf raises, your upper body gets a break. So as long as the same muscle is not being fatigued by both exercises, the antagonist superset works. This gives you a lot of flexibility when designing your workouts. You can structure an entire training session using antagonist supersets. For example, you can start with a chest exercise and superset it with a back exercise. Then you can move on to a bicep exercise and superset it with a tricep exercise. And after that, you can pair a quad exercise with a hamstring exercise. And then you can combine a shoulder exercise with calf raises, for example. With this setup, your workouts flow continuously instead of being a stop and go all the time. Your rest periods become very short, usually around 30 seconds. I wouldn't even call it rest periods, it's basically just the time it takes you to move from one exercise to the other and get set up. But don't get it twisted, you still get your regular rest periods, but you will be doing that in a much more efficient way. You take your normal 3-minute rest or whatever that might be after you finish one of your antagonist supersets. So it would look like this. You start with the bench press, then you instantly walk to the lat pull down machine and start doing that. And once you finish the lat pull down, this is where you take your regular rest. And you repeat this over and over. But it doesn't have to be just 2 exercises in that antagonist superset. If you are, for example, doing a lot of isolation exercises at the end of the workout, you could even put 3 exercises into that antagonist superset. So you could, for example, do a cable curl, tricep pushdowns, and then calf raises, and then take your regular rest. However, you need to keep in mind that doing antagonist supersets will decrease your strength a little bit. It's nothing dramatic, but I obviously need to mention it, because you need to understand this trade-off very clearly. You are sacrificing a little bit of maximum performance in exchange for a massive increase in efficiency. For most people, especially those who are short on time, this is a very good trade. But some exercises are not really a good idea to put into an antagonist superset. This applies to squats, for example, as they are usually very taxing, so you might just get so fried from doing it that doing another exercise right after might be super difficult. So it might be just better to do them in a standalone set. Another thing to consider is your gym situation. If you train in a very crowded gym, it can be difficult to move between 2 exercises or even 3 exercises without equipment getting taken. The best case scenario is if you work in with someone or let others work in with you. In that case, it should be no problem. On the other hand, if you train during off-peak hours or you have access to a home gym, this should be absolutely no problem. Step number 4. Long-term application. Now we come to the final step, which is how to actually apply this method long-term. The first thing you need to understand is that you do not have to fully commit to antagonist superset training. You do not need to use it for every single exercise in your workout. In fact, for most people, the smartest approach is a hybrid one. You can do the heavy compound lifts that tax you a lot, like for example squats or deadlifts, using the normal standalone sets with full rest periods. This allows you to maintain strength and performance where it matters the most. Then once you move on to exercises that are not so brutal anymore, you can apply antagonist supersets. This is where the biggest time savings happen anyway. By doing this, you get the best of both worlds. You keep your strength high and you still dramatically shorten your workouts. Even if you only apply antagonist supersets to a part of your workout, you can easily save at least 20 minutes per session, and over weeks and months, that adds up to a huge amount of time saved. Once you experience how smooth and efficient your workouts become, it's very hard to go back to the old way of training. So give this a shot and let me know how it goes down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, I hope you learned something. Good luck on your bodybuilding journey, and I will see you next time. If you like this video, then you will surely like this one too.